Hey folks, welcome back to another video. Going to show you around the pig paddocks and some of the work that's been done in there, and a quick walk around the farm to keep you up to date for how things are going here towards the end of June. Got some grapes that we planted this spring coming up. We'll install the arbors later this year and have this beautiful Rudbeckia that I planted in December lining the grape strips. So this area that was formerly just lawn is starting to become beautiful and productive. Just look at all that sunlight getting in to the forest floor here. It's beautiful. Now, if you haven't seen other videos where I've talked about this, we secured some NRCS funding to transition parts of the woods around the farm into Silvopasture, and those funds were able to help us hire a crew to do the felling and removal of about 50% of the canopy in here. And the difference is really dramatic just in that quick bit of work. And looking at old videos and pictures from last year, it's fun to see this area transition so drastically. Previously, there was such a thick canopy cover that almost no sunlight was getting in down to the forest floor. And there was also a very thick layer of duff, forest leaves, and other organic material covering it up. And so we're running another batch of pigs through here. They arrive on the farm in about a week to do a final pass to disturb some of the floor here and continue to open up the seed bank of perennial grasses that we've already seen emerging, with hopes of transitioning this acre strip or so of woods into a nice shaded summer pasture. So after the machine was in here pulling logs out, the ground is a bit disturbed, but we're certain and feeling excited about watching just a really big flush of growth over the next year come up and turn this into a wooded, shady pasture. A big part of our goal on the farm is to make the edges a little more feathered where the pasture butts up against the woods, so that we're not looking at either pasture and all of its beauty and uses, or just woodlands like we have here, but feathering that edge and getting a nice transition from the open pasture into the woods. And with all the trees we've planted out here, I like to say that we're turning the pasture into forest and we're turning the forest into pasture. Now the tree lanes are really starting to come into their own and emerge in a way where you can see the pattern even from a distance. We've got beautiful hazelnuts just past a pawpaw, Asian pears, apple trees. In these first three lanes, we've planted cane fruit, so there's some raspberries coming up, and just seeing dramatic change in a short period of time with a little bit of creativity and hard work. These apple trees, when we planted them last spring, were no more than about waist height, maybe belly button, and in their first summer and then this spring of growth have shot up to over 8, some cases 9 feet tall. And we have a very specific and well researched method of tree planting and amendments that we put in with the tree holes. You can see more details on that in this video here. and it's really wonderful to see how well it's working in our context and how the trees seem to just be absolutely thriving. Coming up on the north gardens, this hedgerow of perennial and self-seeding flowers is coming into its own. We've still got a lot of greens, carrots, summer squash. The vegetables in the tunnels are doing very well. And we just tarped this upper area and are going to be building out beds to finish the garden expansion into here in a couple of weeks. So that'll bring our total footprint to 1/2 an acre of intensive vegetable production, which is where we're going to keep it for the long term of the farm. Speaking of NRCS funding, we just got notified that we're going to be getting high tunnel grant funding through the NRCS, and something that not a lot of folks are aware of that is a cool thing to know about is that they reimburse by the square foot, and these Farmer's Friend caterpillar tunnels cost very little per square foot compared to a standard higher tech high tunnel. And so with that, you can get reimbursement for the full rate that they do for high tunnels, but ever since these caterpillar tunnels have been approved, you essentially get reimbursed about twice the cost of a caterpillar tunnel. And so you can use that extra money to buy more caterpillar tunnels, put it in your pocket, reinvest in the farm. We're going to use some of those extra funds to purchase a prop house space and build it out so that we can be self-reliant on propagating our own starts instead of buying them in. So very excited about that, and we'll document progress as that project moves along. Carrots have been doing pretty good. Peppers are coming into their own. We had to remove wood chips from some of the paths in order to facilitate good drainage out of these soggier beds, and just have been going through with a wheel hoe from Haas Tools, which has been a good fit on the farm. Very easy to do a quick pass through and weed the paths. Taro, more peppers, summer squash getting ready to pop, and feeling really happy with the growth and progress of the gardens here in the old block. We intentionally planned our season and are going to continue to plan in this way to have a bit of a lull in the summer, in the middle of the heat. It's a stretch of many consecutive 90-degree days right now, and we're just getting into the beginning of summer. And it's hard on the animals, it's hard on us, it's hard on the plants, and we need breaks built in throughout the year, particularly in our context where we can produce into the winter. So we did 4 batches of broilers this spring, and we're just getting close to wrapping up our 4th batch before we have about 4 weeks off before more chicks come, and it gives us about 8 weeks in between having chickens in the field. So that break will be welcomed, and we're very excited for it. Going to be able to take about 12 days off the farm in the middle of July, which feels like a big win for us getting started just here in our 2nd year. Chickens are just resting here in the heat of the day. This is part of why we're taking a break in the middle of the heat, because it's hard on them to be out in super hot weather all the time. They're very, very active at dawn and dusk, but have to conserve energy in the shade while it's so hot out. So they're doing good. They'll be off the farm in a little more than 2 weeks, and we'll get that well-needed break as you see them moving through lanes of persimmons and hazels and other fruit trees. Elders that we planted last spring just this year have shot up well over my head in this little drainage coming off of the barn. And we've planted a bunch of annual flowers, cherry trees, mock orange, and continually in an effort to beautify the marginal spaces. The first Tithonia, or Mexican sunflower, have just started to emerge, which is one of my favorites in the summertime. An added bonus of removing all those trees and having them chipped is we now have about 100 yards or so of nice, very geometric, clean poplar wood chips that we'll use for garden expansion. It's the last years for mulching the trees, making compost, and plenty of uses on the farm. So I always feel wealthy when I have a big pile of wood chips behind me, and excited to put them to use and watch the plants do their thing. Thanks for watching another video. Please like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.